Imagine being born into a wealthy family in 1354, yet without any right to inherit, destined to be a shadow in history, and still becoming one of the world's richest and most powerful men. How does one transition from obscurity to the limelight of power and fortune? This is the story of Richard Whittington, a name you might not know, but whose life exemplifies ambition, cunning, and an unquenchable thirst for power. Born into a family of some nobility, but without the advantages of the firstborn, Richard Whittington started his life with little expectation of greatness. In medieval England, the fate of younger sons was limited. Unlike his older brother, who would inherit the family's wealth and title, Richard had an uncertain path ahead of him. In those times, the third son of a noble family rarely received more than a basic education and a small patrimony to start his life. Whittington, however, was not content with this. He left his home in search of opportunities in the bustling city of London. Upon arriving in London, Whittington found himself in a completely different world. The city was a hive of commerce and opportunity. Starting from the bottom, his sharp business sense soon began to bear fruit. But how did he manage to stand out in a city full of ambitious merchants? This is where Whittington's cunning shone. At a time when most depended on inheritance and social status, Whittington demonstrated that wit and skill could take a man further than his lineage dictated. He began to make key connections, seizing every business opportunity that presented itself, no matter how small. Soon, his name started to be known among London's merchants. What would you have done in his place? Would you have taken the risk of leaving your comfortable home to venture into the unknown? Or would you have stayed in the comfort of the familiar? In the quest for greatness, sometimes one must take the first step into the unknown. And this was just the beginning for Whittington. What followed was an even more impressive rise, a path that would lead him to accumulate immense wealth and power. In London, Whittington had to learn not just to navigate the competitive world of business, but also to stand out among a crowd of equally ambitious merchants. Whittington didn't just follow the rules of the game, he redefined them. He began investing in various types of merchandise, demonstrating a business acumen few possessed. From exotic fabrics to rare spices, each investment was a calculated step toward greater wealth. But Whittington was not just a shrewd businessman, he was also a visionary. He quickly understood the importance of networks and connections. He formed alliances with other merchants, extended his influence in London's society, and began building a commercial empire that went beyond mere buying and selling of goods. Whittington delved into the lucrative business of money lending. This increased his fortune and gave him considerable power over those who depended on his loans. A smart move, but not without risks and controversies. At this point in his life, Whittington had transcended his humble origins. However, the true measure of a man is not just in how much he accumulates, but in how he uses his wealth and power. As we follow the trail of his career, we see a man who was not just fighting for his fortune, but also for a place in history. Whittington's ambition did not stop at trade. His sights were set on the highest spheres of power and influence. Whittington excelled not only in trade and business, but also displayed a unique ability to navigate the complex world of politics and society. Through his astute investments and strategic relationships, he began to gain a status that went beyond being just a wealthy merchant. A key moment in his career was when he started lending money to the crown itself. This positioned him as a pivotal player in English politics. He no longer had to strive to make friendships or contacts. Anyone who was relevant or important did everything possible to have Whittington among their acquaintances or friends. By 1384, Whittington had already embarked on his political career, becoming a councillor of the City of London. This position was just the beginning of his influence in the political sphere. In 1392, he played a crucial role in negotiations with the king, where the City of London had to repurchase its liberties for a considerable sum. His ability to handle tense and complicated situations with the crown began to stand out. By 1393, Whittington was a respected councillor, leading to his appointment as Sheriff of the City of London and a member of the Worshipful Company of Mercers, one of the most prestigious guild companies. His wealth and connections paved the way to positions of great responsibility. His rise continued when, following the death of Adam Bam in 1397, he was imposed by the king as Lord Mayor of London. What did it mean to be the Lord Mayor of London at that time? This position was a title of great prestige and enormous influence. The Lord Mayor was a central figure in the administration of the city, with power over economic, judicial, and even military matters. During his tenure, Whittington implemented changes and reforms that shaped the London of his time. From improving infrastructure to implementing laws that benefited trade and the local economy, his impact was significant. The deposition of King Richard II in 1399 did not affect Whittington's position. It is believed that he consented to Bolingbroke's coup, which brought King Henry IV to the throne, a ruler to whom Whittington had long supplied goods and lent money. Even under the reign of Henry V, Henry IV Ford's son and successor, Whittington continued to be an influential figure, lending large sums of money and serving on various royal commissions. He also played a significant role in Westminster Abbey, overseeing expenditures for its completion. Despite being a lender, he was respected and trusted enough to act as a judge in usury trials. Moreover, he had a decisive role in regulating the brewing industry, winning a significant dispute over beer prices and standard measurements. Whittington became a power behind the throne. His influence now extended to national decision-making. But what kind of leader was Whittington? Was he a man of the people or a ruler detached from the needs of his citizens? Despite amassing immense wealth and power, Whittington is also remembered for his acts of philanthropy and his contributions to the well-being of the city. Richard Whittington died in 1423. Having no heir, he left a large part of his fortune to charitable works, including the foundation of a college for priests, donations to churches, and the creation of a hospice for the poor. If you found the story of Richard Whittington intriguing, you might also be interested in the story of John Jacob Astor, one of the richest men in the world who died on the Titanic. Thank you for joining me in this journey through the life of Richard Whittington. If his story has inspired you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more content.